Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been Runaway by Del Shannon. That was playing at the Peach Pit, like when they sort of the first time they visit the Peach Pit during the
Huh.
episode. And I don't know. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young. I don't know. There's something about like where our love went wrong in this episode with Del Shannon and Runaway. And I don't know, that might be something that's happening here.
More foreshadowing?
It's possible. So I am Jeff, and you're a little too hung up on the way things used to be instead of making plans for the way things are gonna be.
That feels personal.
And joining me on the other end of the internet is my co-host.
I'm Leslie, and you treated me like I'm a kid. I'm 17.
That's right, grown-up kid. Yeah, so this week, everybody, we're going to Baja with Dylan and Brenda and Rosalita and her big fucking mouth. And it's Mexican Standoff time, Season 2, Episode 27, original air date April 30th, 1992.
Ooh.
We're getting to the end of the season, you guys. One more episode in Season 2. So did you feel it? Did you feel it jumping up a notch? Like setting up some end game situations in this episode?
A little bit. It doesn't help that for the last 2 weeks, I have had hanging over me the synopsis for Wedding Bells.
Oh, that's the one I thought you read this one.
No, that's the one I saw, and I was like, the fuck you say?
Oh, funny. I don't even know. Okay, now I have to go look at this.
It doesn't say a lot. It just says that held up. It's so crazy. It says held up.
Oh, Jim goes to Mexico to fetch Brenda or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went, what?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And so
that's funny.
I accidentally started that one. I only saw like a couple minutes before I realized, because you kept saying Mexican Standoff, and I was like, maybe that's just what he's calling it. It's Jeff. He calls things what he wants to call them. I don't know.
Right.
And I started Wedding Bells, and I went, to Mexico.
Yeah, okay.
And thankfully, my brain pieced things together, and I went, oh, I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's funny. Because I thought that prior to Color Me Bad, you saw something about Brenda and being in Mexico from this episode. And I was like, yeah, that isn't going to make any sense. Like,
no. And I gathered that, and I just didn't feel like correcting you because we see correcting happen or not happen so much in a trope. For some reason in my own life, I'm like, if I don't have to correct something, I just won't. Like, it's just banal.
We'll let it slide. We'll get there. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in this episode, Dylan invites Brenda to Baja, and they go. But before they go, Brenda breaks curfew like 4 times in like 25 minutes. I mean, it's a lot of curfew breaking.
And says, fuck your parenting.
Yeah. I was beginning to wonder why I have a curfew myself.
I'm an adult. Man.
Yeah. Brenda does not give a shit about this curfew. And I think we're going to have to talk about the validity of the curfew here in a few minutes. But, I don't understand why Jim agrees to let her go to Mexico. I've never understood it. And just wait till you see at the beginning of season 3 how Jim and Cindy choose to solve the problem of Brenda disobeying them and going to a foreign country. Because it's a fucking head scratcher. But Jim agrees, sure, you can go to Mexico. Like,
I hope they sent her to a convent.
Oh, no one goes to a convent yet.
What?
Yeah,
we have to watch nonsense.
I'm not saying anyone joins a convent, but there is an episode that takes place at a convent. It's not for a while. It's season 6. So we got a little while till we get to the convent. But so Brenda says, "Can I go to Mexico?" And Cindy says, "Jim, don't be a stick in the mud. Let the child go to Mexico. What's she going to do in Mexico that she's not already doing here?" Which is a fair point. I mean, if you're going to bang in Dylan's house, you're going to bang in Mexico. Which,
Yeah.
did you notice that Dylan's house is reverted?
Thought something looked strange.
The exterior was, remember the potted plant smashing? That was the exterior of that house. The house he lives in doesn't look like that. And maybe they haven't shown the exterior, but I know they've shown his interior a number of times.
They've shown an exterior before, and I'm pretty sure it was a different color than
It
this
is. It's
house.
a brown house.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looked more, I don't know, low-key, like a single person's. It looked kind of like a bungalow.
It is kind of a bungalow. Yeah. And in real life, it's like a block away from Casa Walsh. Like, it's on the same street.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not. In the show, they don't say that that's where it is, but it is. It's right down the street from Jim and Cindy's house. So, but yeah, so they're at Dylan's house, and I don't remember where I was before I got on the house looks different, but
they were. If you're gonna bang.
Yeah.
If you're gonna bang here at Dylan's, you might as well bang in Baja.
Yeah, which I mean, fair. Like that's not a good reason to stop someone.
You can start checking off the places on the map where you've done it.
That's true. That's true. And Cindy's right. That's not a good reason not to let her go to Mexico with her boyfriend. Because you let him go to Yosemite. Like, everybody went to Yosemite, which I don't know why everybody thinks. No, Baja and Yosemite, they're not the same thing. Like, for one, you need a passport or an ID to go to Baja, which nobody thinks of.
Big thing number one, you need a passport.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, maybe border was a little more fluid in the early 90s.
I doubt it.
I never made that trip, so I can't say for certain. But it is, you can get into Mexico without a passport, but you can't come back, maybe? I don't know, but somebody should have said this.
Of course.
Like, Jim's like, I wonder if there's any shots that you need to get. No one said, I wonder if you should take some identification to a foreign country.
They are so... I noted this. And I didn't know if it was like them being racist or if you really do need to worry about, like, because I know water, like clean water is a problem down there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's a thing from what I understand.
Yeah, I know that's a thing. But as for like the food, I was like, I don't know if this is a clean water thing and you all are really concerned or if you're just being racist. But like they were more concerned about, we might need shots or like food, water, and all this, and not ID. Or again, the fact that like, I don't know. I just think there are more concerning things when letting your child go to a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get 4 different opportunities to go to Europe before my parents finally relented to let me go to a foreign country. And that's Europe.
But the first 3 you were 12. So
no.
I mean, they had a point.
No.
And your entire plan was right thumb. Like, you were just going to hitch your way across the continent. And I think they were right to say maybe not, Leslie. Maybe
wow.
Not. Well, you're not the most responsible person, is all I'm saying.
Wow. Okay. Don't know what's been said about me.
I'm only the things I just said right now. Only the shit I'm making up. That's all. That's the only stuff. So he agrees. Jim. And then she breaks curfew again by 4 a.m. Like, that's a breach. Here's my Jim question when it comes to 4 a.m. She's at Dylan's. She's reachable.
Yeah.
No one calls Dylan's house.
Right? You all have phones.
Yeah, it's not like she's in it's not like she's hanging out with Dylan on the Sunset Strip with the surf doofuses and Betty.
Yeah.
Like, you know where she is. And if you want her to come home, call his house. Like, hey, where are you?
Right.
Get your ass home. And then, you still have a broken curfew, but you don't have 4 hours of worry.
Right. That's where it's so strange to me, because it makes it look like Jim wanted to call them out, but I don't see that from him at all in how he acts this out, or his character. Like, he just doesn't seem like that sounds like something Felice would do.
Right. Set some shit up.
Like, so you just decided you were going to wait until 4 a.m. before coming home?
Right.
Like, Mom, you have David's number. You have this home number.
Right.
You could have called.
Right.
What?
Yeah. I don't get it. So she shows up at 4 a.m. and Jim's like, guess what? You blew it, New Mexico. And Brenda is like, yeah, I kind of got to eat this one. I fucked it up. It's my bad.
He's way too laissez-faire with him. She's just like, oh yeah, Dad, hi, I'm gonna go to bed now. Like, no, the fuck you're not.
Right. But also, like, she accepts the consequences until Donna tells her not to.
Of all people.
I know, yeah. And I
got whiplash from this episode.
I know, there's a lot. And I think that's something to get into in what this is really about. But, so they go to Mexico. Rosalita talks about some other bitch that Dylan brought down to Mexico. What the fuck, Rosalita? Like, what is your deal? Why are you just, like, out there putting his business on Front Street? That is not...
Stacey made an impression on Rosalita. They became friends.
She runs a motel.
I know.
People come into motels with not the same person every time sometimes. That's a thing that's real. Hey, shut up, Rosalita.
Right?
Like, God bless. This is ridiculous. You're killing Dylan is a regular.
It's so bad. It's so, like, bad in how it's executed, bad in how it's written. It's like, again, she can't be that dumb. Like, you've met this new woman, and you're like, oh, hey, how's Stacey doing?
Right. Yeah, where's the old one? Where's your old girlfriend that I liked better than this one?
Although, to be fair, Brenda overreacts. Like, I've never understood... Yeah. Maybe because I've always been way too open about exes and everything, because they just, listen, people make an impression on you. They're going to impact many things. Sometimes you have really good stories to tell. Like,
right.
I feel like if I'm going to be as open talking about my exes, I need to be okay with you talking about your exes, or acknowledging the fact that, like, I'm not your one and only, and thank God I don't want to be on that pedestal. Like,
right.
But then again, it felt to me like the shit you see in you used to see in teen dramas a lot. Like, this is how you're supposed to feel as a young girl. If your man has ever been with anyone else, you can't trust him. He's shit. He lied to you. And it's like, and it just ends up ruining your first couple of relationships because of what you think is supposed to be from TV.
Right. Yeah. She does. She overreacts. It's real stupid. And she gets over it because mariachi is funny at your table.
I guess. Try being on a train hearing it.
It is. Well, yeah, that's true. I was on a train once. I was here in Chicago, not in New York. I was on a train once, and somebody got on the red line and started playing More Than Words by Extreme. You know this song?
Not off the top of my head, but I know of it vaguely.
Yeah, it's a song.
Oh, it's coming to me now, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Shh, let's just fuck. Like, it takes more than words to show me how you feel. It's called boning, and that's what we're talking about. And this guy on the train is like, more than words. And I'm like, oh my God, what a weird choice.
Takes more than words to shut you up.
Yeah. Bong. Guitar over the head, El Kabong style. But have you ever been at a restaurant where someone comes and plays music at the table? It is awkward.
I don't think I have. I've been at the table where people start singing, though.
Yeah, like Happy Birthday kind of deal?
No. Like musical theater kids at Steak and Shake after a show. I'm really sorry, world. We're just... Life is so good and pure.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize, but I'm also like, those were some good times.
Yeah, like when you're at Steak and Shake at 3 a.m. with theater people, there's two things going to happen. One, someone is going to straight up eat those little green peppers. And two, 4 people are going to try to harmonize some shit. And there's just no two ways about it.
And you're lucky if they don't start breaking out into La Vie Boheme. Let's just be real.
God. That's just basic bitch shit if you're going to try to do that at a restaurant. I mean, sing something that wasn't set in a restaurant.
I don't think we did.
Wine and beer.
Yes. I don't think we did, but I also know that at one point I was like singing Rent in the hallways all the time, to the point where my best guy friend would just pick me up and flip me to get me to stop.
No. I mean, that is better than no Joseph, don't fuck the babies, which is the thing that I've been tempted to sing in public sometimes. So I don't know, musical theater digressions, but it is weird when if you're at like a Greek restaurant and they come up and there's like a dancer at your table, or yeah, I've been there, or at like the Italian restaurant where they come over and solo mio, whatever, like it's awkward. That kind of direct, right in my face. I'm trying to eat this burrito, and you are guitaring in my face and singing feelings in Spanish. So, I actually kind of like that moment because it's very real how weird that is, especially if you're a teenager and you don't know how to react to something like that.
Yeah. Oh, they behaved just like kids in that moment, but I would say even nicer than some kids. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. But it broke the ice. It got through Brenda's stick up her ass, and I'm assuming something else went up her ass later. Whatever they did. Whatever they did. She doesn't want to get pregnant, is all I'm saying. She had a scare, and now we're adjusting our approach.
I mean, I don't want to get into details, but I feel like things you could still get pregnant that way. Things can run.
I really thought you were going to go to, I don't recommend that after eating a burrito. That's where I thought that was headed.
No, but also, yes. I mean, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, it doesn't. That sounds like a bad combo.
Sounds painful for Dylan.
It sounds painful for Brenda, too. Just gastro issues, just nonstop. Not where I thought we were going to go this episode. So then Brenda tries to go back home, realizes that you need an ID to re-enter the country, and is busted. That's the A storyline.
Yeah.
The B storyline, we haven't talked about at all, is a spin-off setup. It is, we meet Jake. And you, because you don't know, you're like, hey, is this a Melrose thing? And I'm like, this is the Melrose thing. This is how Melrose starts. But why would you know that?
When I was rewatching it, I was, you hear things that you didn't hear before, and he goes like, oh, I just live in a little place off Melrose. And I went,
yep.
Already?
Yeah, that's it. We're getting started.
Jake from State Farm.
Not from State Farm, from Melrose.
I know.
So, but he taught Dylan everything. How to surf, how to pick up chicks, how to ride a motorcycle, how to look cool with hair and stuff. Yeah. So what is your impression of Jake?
he seems like he's going to be the Dylan of Melrose Place.
Huh? Maybe.
Oh man,
yeah.
what would be the Jake book in his car?
Oh, what would Jake read? Ooh. Here's the thing. I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of Melrose to know who Jake is as a character long term. I think you're right in generally speaking, he's the heartthrobby guy. That is our entryway into the world of Melrose.
I mean, he had on a tight black tee. He was on a motorbike. He kept doing this.
Oh yeah, you got to flip. You got to do the hair flip.
Like, again.
But he had some nice long hair. That was some early '90s nice long hair. That was Hugh Grant style.
He was a decent looking guy. Kelly looked way cuter this episode, so she was distracting.
Sure.
Like more to me than Jake, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. So Jake comes to town and needs work because of all of his high finance things fell through. I mean, like, I don't hate that, but I don't think he can deliver that that gag in a believable way. Like it seemed a little lame as jokes go.
I didn't even know it was supposed to be a joke.
Oh yeah, no, he was joking. None of that stuff was true. He's just a dude in his 20s who don't have any money. And everybody at the table was like, "Ha ha, Jake, what a cut up you are."
What a story, Mark.
Yeah. So he's looking for some work, and Jackie needs a gazebo built because this fucking Hallmark movie getting ready to happen in her backyard.
Oh God.
And so he's hired to handyman some shit up, and Kelly gives him permission to get personal. She strokes his level and feeds him microwave lasagna. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of a connection.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jake of it all kind of takes the pickle out of Kelly's ass. A lot of people with pickles up their ass this episode.
She also had to stick up her bum. It really was hard to figure out, and we'll get to it more later, like, who sucked more, Kelly or Brenda, because...
Yeah, and I think that, like, Kelly was acting the way she was acting when Mel and Jackie started dating.
Oh, yeah, she has not relented.
I think she's been mostly okay. This is like it's not out of character because it makes sense with all the changes that are happening around her, that she would be like, God damn, Mom, you suck. Like, you keep doing shit to me and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but she really is acting the way that she acted on their first date, where she's just going to have to be a total bitch.
Yeah.
And try to get them to break up. But she, like, eventually Jake cracks that because she's like, now I think Kelly is tired of everyone else around her having good things happen for them.
Sure.
Like,
that's
Kelly,
natural.
Yeah, like Brenda and Dylan are really happy. David and Donna are really happy. Her mom and Mel are happy. What's happening for old Kel? Like, she got to meet the Color Me Badders, but she didn't really care all that much. Like, she wasn't there to get down groupie style. No. She was just there to lend people dollar bills for the vending machine.
Which I have to commend Kelly for, because I feel like she was originally written to just be someone who will date anyone, and yet at the same time she has repeatedly shown that she has standards, because she doesn't want to go back to Steve, even though he is more than ready and willing. She's not just gonna, like, sleep with a guy just to do something, or feel like she's not gonna just be with a guy just so she's not alone. So
right. Yeah, and
go Kelly.
But she's kind of clicking with Jake a little bit, makes him some shitty ass lasagna, brings him a Coke, and then Steve shows up and is like, I used to be able to come here and just get some, and now I can't, and that's a bummer.
Which I feel like is not true, because
it hadn't been true for a while.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think you all dated that long, and and it's definitely been a long time before you have been able to do that. And also, like, you've slut shamed her and made fun of her nose and everything. Like, this is kind of like when one of my high school boyfriends broke up with me over AIM and then would try to ask me out again after that. And I went, no, why would I ever?
Right. Your aim was
You
true before.
dumped me online. No.
Yeah, that's no good. No. But Steve is like, I think it's time for me to move on. And Brandon is like,
I know.
like, Brandon's reaction there is everybody's reaction. Like, Brandon is every man sleeping in scrubs. He is just like, thank God, Steve. Like, she's not interested. She's been telling you for 2 solid years that she, like, the entire time I've known you, she has not been interested. And that continues to be true.
Like, just take the L and be glad that she even wants to be friends with you.
Yeah. Go, like, date someone else who doesn't hate your Corvette. Shouts to Darla Hanson. Wait, Darla Hanson, Jake Hanson, are they related? Literally, the first person who's ever thought of that was me just now.
I believe it, and I'm going to say that
certainly wasn't the writers.
No,
yeah, I'm sure that. Yeah, they didn't intend that. I think they ran out of last names.
Did they predict Hanson?
Bob, that's a good one. See what I did there? I said Bob, like it was a thing I was thinking about.
No, I heard it.
Yeah,
no, and but just
sometimes it's important when you say a really lame joke to point it out and dissect it out loud so that everyone can feel how really lame it was that you said that. And that you know that it was lame, but you did it anyway. You know, because that makes it better. It makes it infinitely better when you explain that in an umbop, they're here, and in an umbop, they're gone. You know.
I have nothing to say.
I know you don't. Because you do not respect Hanson. I think that's clear.
Wait, I didn't come for them like New Radicals did.
No, New Radicals can fuck right off with their Hanson hatred. Although they were right about Marilyn Manson. So, like, half of that rhyme, like, good for you, New Radicals. But leave Hanson alone.
Yeah.
Assholes.
They're just little boys.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just siblings who want to make music. The Partridge Family, son of bitches. Just let them be. Bop. It's a good song. Sure. It is. Power Pop is great. I got no notes on Power Pop. I love it.
All right.
So, what is this episode really about?
Humans are the worst. To quote John Ralphio.
John Ralphio is the best.
Yes. Yeah, no, humans suck in this episode. That's the best way I can summarize what this is really about, because they don't listen. Like, the kids aren't listening to their parents, but I don't even want to just blame kids for being kids. Like, people just don't listen to each other or respect boundaries usually. They don't read. I'm really pissed about them watching The Grapes of Wrath instead of reading The Grapes of Wrath. I hate that.
Let me say this. I have a theory that everyone has started The Grapes of Wrath and only like 6 people have finished it. You're one of the 6. I am in the vast majority of people who started that book and put it down thinking that the Jodes never left Oklahoma. Like, I tried to read that book like 4 times as a senior in high school, and I never made it past like page 70.
When I was in high school, we had to read Of Mice and Men for the Steinbeck. That was the only Steinbeck we got to read, because they've gotten to the point, or they had at that point, and I'm sure it continues to decrease, but they were like, we only have so much time because fucking school standards. And so we're going to pick the smallest book for these kids to get through, and then maybe they'll want to read it. And like, somehow after high school, I was motivated to read other John Steinbeck, and I thought, this shit's way better than Of Mice and Men. Why didn't we read this instead? Oh, wait, they're bigger, and you can't convince kids to read, and there's not enough time to really dissect these books, because for some reason, the government, the state standards want you to read all these other books, except now they don't.
Yeah. It's the difference educationally between a mile wide and an inch deep, or 6 feet wide and a mile deep. And education is meant to do an inch deep. It's not meant to go deep and dive and understand and really dig into stuff and take the time needed, because you don't have the time, right? You only have so many days of the school year, and you don't get to spend all of it on Steinbeck.
Well, we should
Sometimes
teach more kids about unions.
Well, that's true. And apparently something happens in that book later on that I would have been very interested in, and I missed out.
You listen, you did. Is it a very somber, haunting scene? Yes, but it still includes boobs.
Somber titty sucking? I don't know about that.
Listen,
that's a Debbie Downer.
When an old man is starving, and
that's what it's happening?
Okay, fine. I'm just going to ruin it for you. An old man is starving, and Rose of Sharon, what a name, Rose of Sharon has lost her child in labor, and, unfortunately is still carrying...
this is a fucking downer.
Yeah, but I got you interested for a minute to be like, well, you missed out on some tits.
Oh, hard pass on that. Oh, that's sad boobs. I don't want sad boobs.
Hey, what is life without variety?
I mean, I guess some people like sad boobs, I suppose. I'm
not saying happy boobs. I mean, I don't want sad boobs either, but listen, I don't want to be sad, but I experience sadness quite a bit. It happens, and so the boobs get sad. That's probably why they're dense now. I don't know. Like, it's a very interesting, to say the least, ending. But I think it's supposed to be haunting, and it haunts me still.
Yeah, well, I don't like it. Hard pass.
I still liked the book.
Okay. Well, man, there's a whole thing going on now inside me, and I don't want to.
Anyway, humans are the worst. The last thing about humans being the worst, which I feel like The Grapes and Wrath really goes into very well on how humans are the worst. Humans pollute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They get all up in the ocean and ruin Dylan's surfing and Brenda's surfing lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no good. But maybe it's not humans, maybe it's Americans, because Mexico seems to be okay. Like, go to Mexico, you can surf.
That's true. I mean, other countries do have their shit together when it comes to, like, keeping the place nice and clean and, respecting national landmarks and,
maybe
nature. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I'm okay with also saying Americans suck.
Wait a minute. What was the name of El Boca Grande? That's where they stayed.
La Boca Grande.
La Boca Grande. You know what that means, right?
The big house.
The big mouth. Which is Rosalita. It's fucking big mouth. Out there just ruining. God damn it, Rosalita.
She's in cahoots with Deep Throat.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Rosalita, just she told you what the place was before you showed up, Dylan. She named it. I'm gonna spread your business. That's what this is. Man. All right. Here's what I think this episode might really be about. Jake's right. I think that there's a lot of people hung up on the way things used to be instead of making plans for the way things are gonna be.
Yep.
I think Kelly's doing that, as Jake correctly points out. Obviously, I think Jim's doing that. Jim is hung up on having a little girl and not the fact that he's going to have an adult child in pretty short order. And, 17 is right on that cusp of like, I don't think Brenda is wrong for wanting more freedom and responsibility. That's very normal for a 17-year-old.
Sure.
I don't think Jim's wrong for saying we have a curfew and it's a good idea for you to come home on school nights before 4 a.m. Because not for nothing, I got to go to work.
Right.
Which he doesn't say, which is like a real thing. Like, I don't want to be up all night worried where you are.
Yeah.
Because I got a board meeting tomorrow. Like, I have shit to do. So, but he's very focused on, like, he had a little girl. And now he's got this near adult woman in his house. And he's not adjusting. He's not planning for how to deal with that. He's still going, curfew is a thing. You got to do the curfew.
Yeah.
No reason for the curfew. He gives a couple reasons, and Brenda's like, yeah, but my grades are fine. What's the problem? Brenda points out, my grades are fine. What's the big deal? And Jim's only answer is, we have a curfew.
When really, because if grades are not the issue, then I feel like you need to point out to a child, hey, you're still growing. Proper sleep helps with that, with your physical growth. It helps with your mental growth. Like, also, you know, you did go through some trauma pretty recently. Like, sleep is like, if you don't get proper sleep, you're not going to be able to, you know, implement the things that you're learning in therapy to help yourself.
Right. And also, Dylan lives by himself. His actions don't impact others. Yours do.
Uh-huh.
There are other people in this house. Act like it.
Also,
you know, like that would be great.
Dylan's way of life, I don't like to use normal, because what is normal? But at the same time, it's not common. It certainly shouldn't be normal for a child.
Right.
Like, he should not be on his own. Even if he's 18, like, I feel like he needs some adult or role model or guide, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, sure, that was Jim and Cindy for a bit, but at the same time, they have to worry about their own kids.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I mean, he eats dinner at the Peach Pit every day. Like, that can't be healthy. No, I don't think that's a good idea. So, like, there's all sorts of things Dylan's doing that are not recommended behaviors. He's not, like, actively hurting anybody right now. He's sober, and that's good. And, you know, he's not out there playing pool, God forbid. But, like, he just is just making, he's putting on her the things that work for him.
Uh-huh.
And that's not helpful.
No.
Steve is also hung up on the way things used to be and not making plans for what's coming. And finally makes that realization, which is great. But there's just a lot of people kind of stuck. And the things that happen in this episode, because honestly, nothing happens to anybody else. Like, no. David buys some earrings. Andrea tries to get a group going again.
Me as the friend in high school when everyone else was pairing off and having sex, and I'm like, why can't we all just hang out? We'll
right
come together.
Yeah.
Oh, you all want to go have sex? Okay.
You can. I'll go in the other room.
I'll go read Harry Potter.
There you go. Yeah. So I think without spoiling things, we're going to see people shaken off of their stagnancy a little bit.
Awesome.
Based on some things are happening. Yeah, so that's okay. And anything happens with Brandon this episode, other than him reacting visually and verbally to Jim okaying this situation?
Yeah, Brandon was... I'm okay with less Brandon. Like, I'm sorry, Jason Priestley.
It's a
like,
good amount of Brandon.
I enjoy you. I do not enjoy Brandon.
Yeah. He was... But Brandon was, like, correct in this episode.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No problems with Brandon here. He's just in shock that Jimbo's cool with this.
Yeah.
But then he's like, yeah, I'll cover for you. It's fine.
It's a good brother.
You know? Yeah. No, he's doing the right things. As far from a brother's perspective. From a mom and dad perspective, they're probably a little irritated that he knew she went to Mexico and didn't tell them about it.
In my mind, I always assumed the siblings stuck together against parents. That's not quite how it was for me. Unfortunately, maybe because there was 5 years distance or age difference, I don't know. But
so Jim and Cindy didn't raise no rat. Mike and Marilyn raised a rat. Is what you're saying?
I had to just keep it all in my diary or be real sneaky about stuff.
There you go. All right. Well, good for you.
Thanks.
Getting into some shit.
So minute in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, yeah. You I'm not even going to guess at the tiny infractions you committed
I mean,
that felt like groundbreaking.
I've told you I had to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway downstairs, and if I heard anyone on the stairs, I had to change the channel.
Yeah, that is some vanilla rule breaking.
And that was also the only way I got to watch Titanic, because once we got a satellite dish and Titanic was on HBO all the time, I was like, I will finally get to see what I've never been allowed to see.
Man, I feel like you were protected. I mean, not from the boobs. The boobs are great. But the rest of that movie can go somewhere else.
No, I wanted to see it all.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I understood it. I was like, why are they shaking and sweating? I don't understand.
Painting is hard.
They were in the car at that point.
I was going to say, have you ever tried painting on a boat? The whole thing's moving.
It is a Starliner. That shit shouldn't move.
It's gotta move. And like you're trying to draw her, and the boobs are shifting. You know, it's just
it doesn't move until they hit an iceberg, and everyone wakes up. That's the only time people notice anything on that ship, which is how a good cruise should go. But I won't ever know because I don't want to go on a cruise.
No, I'm a hard pass.
And not because of Titanic. Not because of that. Just
no, in general.
I don't want to be trapped.
No, one, those are petri dishes.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck in this gross petri dish that's on the ocean that is an affront to God. The size of these things. Yes. They shouldn't float.
No.
Like ridiculous how big these things are. Plus, like I got this thing, like I don't love heights, and it's not because I'm worried about like falling to my death. It's that I'm worried I'm going to drop my keys, or my phone, or whatever, and that shit's gone.
Yeah,
like it goes over the edge. That's it. There's my fucking keys. Okay,
wow.
Like I don't want any part of it. It makes me nervous.
Bruce
it all just makes me nervous. So, yeah. So, I don't want it. I'm not going to go on a cruise. Because I also, like, it's not such a thing now. Although, no, I would still feel this way. I would totally still feel this way. Even though the railing is, like, chest high to me. Whatever. I don't know how tall these railings are. I feel like they're waist high to me. That's what, I mean,
I was going to say.
I've watched some Love Boat. I know what's up. I'd still feel like anyone walking near them might just tip right over. They might just right off the thing. Well, I guess they're gone. You know, like, sorry. And also, not for nothing, but I'm pretty sure that's how people kill their spouses most of the time. Like, right off the edge. Oh, no, they fell. I guess I'm collecting the life insurance.
Do you want to reenact that moment from Titanic? Oh, no.
Yeah, which moment? The moment where everyone died? That moment?
No, the moment before that.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another thing I learned about ships recently, listening to a podcast where someone sent an email in. If you're on a cruise, apparently, and they have like ice cream social night, you know why that happens?
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
No.
It's because too many people died. And they didn't have enough room in the morgue freezer, and they got to clear shit out of the regular freezer.
Stop it. No.
That is what was said by an emailer to a radio show. That, like, the ship morgue can hold about 6 bodies. And if more people than 6 die while you're on the cruise, they got to put them somewhere. And rather than waste the ice cream, it's ice cream social night, everybody.
Oh my God.
I know. Cruises are fucked. I don't want any part of it.
I've always been leery of them, but like after what I read about people being stuck on them for months when lockdown first happened, I was like, fuck no. No.
Yep, hard pass. Yeah, I don't want any of it.
No.
Not a bit. So,
but this one's trying to make me go on one at some point.
Look, I'm not saying he wants to murder you, but I'm saying if he did, this is his plan.
I don't know why he would need a ship. I have mental health problems. Like, he can't just wait it out.
Well, fair. It's not as sad as those boobs you talked about earlier, but it ain't great.
Sorry to go there, people. I have a very dark sense of humor.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
The ship is Plan B. New York is Plan A.
That's rough. That is rough.
Walter's
devious.
He's just innocently playing his games. Like, I love you.
Right. Playing his game and planning his exit strategy.
See, now here's the funny thing, because if that was true, he's going to be stuck with a dog who loves me more than him.
I don't know, but that dog gets real upset when he leaves the room. I've never seen you leave the room, so I don't know how that works, but...
She whines.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've heard that.
From
we
me?
all know about a little dog, Ember.
Oh.
No, we just know Ember. Here's the other thing I think this episode is about. Surprisingly, it's about cruise ships. No idea that this episode is about cruise
ships. Is there an Agatha Christie we can refer to?
Oh my god, there's a lot going on here.
Oh my god,
this is what happens when there's tech problems, and we just end up in like crazy town. This episode is also about people who are having issue with their parents giving Brenda terrible advice.
Oh my god.
Because Donna is in parent split up limbo, which, you know, props to the show for acknowledging something that happened last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, but she's like, hey, Brenda, you can just go to Baja and lie to your parents, which had not occurred to Brenda at all prior to trying on that bridesmaid's dress. And then Dylan is like, well, just tell him you're going and go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have anybody, you don't have any parents around. How do you don't know how this works.
Right.
Your advice is void. It is invalid. I don't want any part of it. And real quick, there's a slight digression we need to make. Because one. I know it's not about cruise ships. It's actually about something that happened in the episode. Weddings on TV are nuts.
Uh-huh.
Because, and for many reasons, but one reason, as displayed here, is that, yes, 167 people have said they're coming to this wedding. Jackie ain't got no friends to be her bridesmaids. Who's standing up for Mel? David, probably? Like, no one who gets married on a TV show who's not part of the main cast has any friends,
right,
to be on their side of the wedding.
Yeah.
None. It has to be like, if the guy on the show is getting married to a girl guest star, the female leads have to be her bridesmaids.
Yeah.
That's how this works. And it's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got no qualms with that. It's true. It's really dumb. It's strange.
At least they tried to give it, like, logic this time. You know? Like, where Jackie was like, I thought this would make you happy. I thought this would make this a little easier for you. Although, I gotta say this. I don't know too many people who are on their fourth marriage. But this seems like a really big affair for a fourth marriage.
Right.
From the standpoint of, how many of your friends are coming back for this shit?
They've already bought you so many things.
3 times. Nobody likes weddings that much. They've come to 3 of yours. And you're having a 4th one that involves a hand-built gazebo. I
mean, I love weddings. I would certainly go to many, but I think if it was a friend's, hell, even probably for their 2nd or 3rd, I would be like, I'm not buying you anything. Because
I think
it's just going to be collateral.
I think well, I hope not, but I do think that the scope and scale of these affairs should diminish each time they happen.
Yeah.
You know, like there's just no call.
I mean,
for this scope of a wedding.
That's why Big walked out on his marriage with Carrie at first.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. He panicked and he had no. No, but yeah, fourth marriage, and he was like, "This is my fourth marriage. How do you think that makes me feel or look?" It's like, well, big, you're the one who's an asshole. So maybe you should have
That's
thought of that
facts.
about that before cheating multiple times.
Multiple times.
Shut
So, is there anything else for you that this episode might really be about?
No, not really.
All right, that's fair.
I think we talked it to death.
So I think it's time for Nostalgia Corner.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Oddly enough, that I don't know if it's. So I had a very lucky teen life with regards to curfews because my mom was like, "We're not going to do curfews, but you do have to call me and let me know where you are whenever you're going somewhere." And I was like, "That's fair," because you know. We now had cell phones. Like, I got a cell phone in high school because I was going to be home before my parents, so they wanted me to constantly call them. And I remember the first night I really got to test this theory out was first night of spring break, my sophomore year. Went out with friends. I think we went out to eat, and then we went to a movie or went to a park. We went to a bunch of different places, so I kept having to call mom. And then finally, we ended up at Kyle's house. Kyle. People had started breaking off throughout the night, but Kyle and I were still hanging out. And then finally, at one point, I think it was around 2 a.m., my mom went, "You think maybe it's time to come home?"
Right.
And I was like, "Okay. Sorry, Kyle. Gotta go home." But it was a fun night, and it was also fun to not really have to deal with curfews and just be like, "This is where I'm going. This is what we're doing. Is that okay? Cool."
Nice.
Yeah.
My Nostalgia Corner involves a question.
Oh.
What movie were you watching when you fell asleep and were late getting home? At somebody's house, and maybe you weren't actually watching the movie, but it was certainly playing in the background.
I mean, that same night we were watching The Patriot.
Oh, wow. Like the one with the cannonballs?
Don't worry, we didn't. I mean,
ouch.
There wasn't a lot of watching.
Good. Don't watch that movie. That
just
seems rough.
Some passionate necking.
Hickey time.
No, not from him.
Oh, okay. To him?
It still makes me giggle. But I love that there's still a little Leslie inside of me. Yeah, I think it was The Patriot. I can't remember. What about you, though?
Shogun.
What?
Yeah, we were same fucking reason. We didn't want to. It was too long to read. Like, we're having real trouble getting through this book, and so we got the mini series Shogun and tried to watch that. That doesn't help if you're making out the entire time.
Yeah.
Like until the recent like FX miniseries of Shogun, that was amazing and I loved it. I had no idea what happened in the story. Like, nice. I supposedly read this book and I supposedly watched this movie, but there was no watching this movie. And I don't know if we fell asleep, but we might have. Like, that did happen, but I do remember actively not watching Shogun.
Yeah, I don't think we fell asleep either, but again, it was passionate necking for a while, and I don't remember who. If my mom must have called to be like, "It's almost 2 a.m. You think maybe it's time to come home?"
Right.
It's fine. I'm only finally getting to make out with my crush, but it's fine. I'll come home.
Sorry, Mom. Would you rather I go eat those little green peppers at Steak and Shake and annoy people with musical theater songs? I can do that if you want. Steak and Shake is still open.
It's still open. It's just going to be another 20-minute drive from where we were.
That's right. Well, and then further to your house. That's not close.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, so that's my nostalgia corner. Is not watching that movie.
That's a great nostalgia corner.
Movie it is. It is. It's because it's a universal experience, pretty much, one would
I'm
assume.
I'm sad that you are one of those who has watched something instead of reading it, but it's fine. We've made it this far in our friendship and familialship.
I'm pretty sure it was just Shogun, though. Like, I don't know that I did that with anything else. But Shogun was just too long. I don't know.
I think the
Other
only
things.
way I could be okay with it is like it makes more sense to watch Shakespeare than
Yeah.
to read it. So like, yeah, if you're gonna do that with anything, do it with Shakespeare.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I agree with that. All right, who is the worst person? Who is the Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode for you?
I was torn between Kelly and Brenda because I was distracted at one, how mean they were being to everyone else or how like disrespectful, but then also
Yeah.
to each other. Like, I feel like we're starting to see, or I'm starting to notice how not great of friends they are to each other.
Uh-huh.
But that being said, I'm going to say it's Brenda because
Okay.
Jim and Cindy don't deserve this. Like, they're not perfect parents, but they're kind of the best parents on the show. And the fact that they were going to let you go, but then you kept ignoring curfew, thinking like, oh, I'm an adult now because I've had sex, I've had a pregnancy scare, I've been burgled. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, that's fair. Brenda steps over some lines in this episode and expects that to be okay.
yeah.
And it very nearly is okay, but no one thinks about passports. And as I pointed out to you in text earlier today, that scheme doesn't work because they get a paper phone bill.
I know, and I've never thought of that.
And your itemized phone bill has incoming and outgoing calls. And they would have seen this incoming call from Mexico.
Yeah.
What you need to do in that circumstance is call Kelly back, have her do a 3-way call to your mom, and then it shows that the call came in from Kelly's house.
Yeah.
And now you're a little more covered.
Yeah.
But they weren't this is more proof that Brenda doesn't understand how telephones work. Like, first is Palm Springs, now it's here. I mean, she knows how to win radio contests using a telephone, but that might be the extent of it.
It's the only thing teenagers want to learn how to use the phone for.
Yeah, exactly. Not anymore. Now there's no talking. Now it's just text-orama. My worst person is Rosalita. Shut up.
Oh.
I mean, you were you're screwing people's lives up with this loose talk of Sandy, and yeah, I don't know how you're going to get any repeat business. You just put everybody's news out there on the table.
Yeah.
No, Rosalita, zip it.
There's a reason why there weren't many people there, because she has ruined so many relationships.
Yeah. Oh, you need a second room? Sure. No problem.
Yeah.
I got one for you, Dylan. This place has never been fully booked because I don't stop sharing your personal business with the new person you brought here.
She is the Mexican chapter of Busybodies.
Oh my God! Of course she is. She's on the phone with people in Vermont nonstop.
Yeah. Oh no.
And she's like, "What is snow?
Edna."
Can I wash my hands, my hair, my face in sand? Because that's what I've got.
Ooh,
that's salt water.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I mean,
although it can exfoliate. You know what? There are good
exfoliator.
Properties to either washing yourself in sand or snow.
And I hear that, like, on Survivor, they brush their teeth with sand because it it doesn't sound great, but it does clean them, So
they also used to use twigs in the old days.
Yeah, everybody likes a good twig toothbrush. All right. Anything else?
I think we did it. I'm so excited to be almost done with season 2. This is crazy.
I know. It's pretty fun. Did we decide what we were doing?
For Wedding Bells?
Yeah, no, for Mexican Standoff.
Oh!
We did not.
Oh, wow.
What movie we're watching. So we're going to have to find something where someone crosses the border into Mexico.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
That's Bolivia. Well, they want to go someplace like Bolivia.
Yeah.
So might be Butch and Sundance. There's another movie that I'm thinking of, and I cannot remember the name of it. That's really good, and I'll look it up and let you know. Because I feel like it's Charlton Heston plays a Mexican guy. Laura, do you know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
no.
I think it's I feel like it's Orson Welles, maybe. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta look this up because it's a good movie. But I'm 99% sure Charlton Heston is in this thing. And there's people like, if we haven't cut this out, shouting, "It's this!"